Hello! Alright, we are going to be switching gears now. The first part of the unit was focused on segments. Now we're going to start looking at angles. And just like we started segments with how to name them and the basics about our little three undefined terms of geometry, we are now going to talk about the specifics of how to name angles. So first, what is an angle? An angle is formed by two rays which have a common endpoint called the vertex. And if you have more than one vertex, just in case you hear me talking about it, that is going to be vertices. The measure of an angle is given in degrees. All right, so if I want to name this angle here that I have, there's lots of different ways I can actually name the angle. One way is to name a point on each side and the vertex. Well, what's the vertex? Right above, we said that the vertex was where the two rays meet. So if I'm looking at this, I have a ray, AR. So here's the ray, AR. And I have another ray down here, AC. Those two rays meet at the vertex, which is A. So one way I can name it is naming a point on each side and the vertex. The vertex has always got to be the middle. Always, 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 always. So I can say that this is angle RAC, or I can say that it's angle CAR. Completely up to you, as long as the vertex is the middle point. So when we named segments, we needed 2 letters. When I named lines, I needed 2 letters. When I name an angle, I need 3 letters. Or I can name an angle simply by its vertex. So in this case, angle A. But this can only be done in some cases. This cannot always be used, and we're going to get to that in a second. Or last, a nice easy way is, look, I named it with the number 1. So I can name it by the number that it was assigned. In this case, I assigned it number 1. Or if you have a diagram and it doesn't have a number, you can assign it its own number. So if I'm looking at the next one here, why can't I name this angle A? So if I were to say, let me pretend like I'm going to say that this is going to be 40 degrees and this angle is 80 degrees. And I say, hey, what's the measure of angle A? Hopefully you would be confused because you wouldn't really be able to answer that, because angle A could be referring to, how many different angles do you see in this diagram? Your instincts are going to want to say 2, but there's actually 3 different angles. So we said to name it by its vertex, angle A. Here's angle A, but that could be angle BAC. Or I could have been talking about angle CAD. Or this is the one that you may have missed, the big angle, angle BAD. And we know that we can switch all of those. This is also angle CAB. This is also angle DAC, and this is also angle DAB. So that's why we said up above here that it can only be done in some cases. You can only use 1 letter if it only has 1 vertex in that angle. But because A is the vertex of 3 different angles, you have to use 3 letters here. So you can only use this method if it only has one vertex and one angle there. Now the different types of angles. We've got 4 different types of angles. We've got an acute angle. We're referencing this angle right here. An acute angle is more than 0. It can't be 0. So my angle's more than 0. And it has to be less than 90. It can't be 90. So it has to be somewhere in between 0 and 90. 1, 70, 89, 89.99999. It can't be equal to 90 because once it's equal to 90, now we have a right angle. Once we go more than 90, now we have an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is bigger than 90, but less than 180. It can't be 90, because if it was 90, it would be a right angle. And it can't be 180, because if it was 180, it would be a straight angle, which is just a straight line. Every linear line has 180 degrees in it. All right, so those are our 4 different kinds of angles, and that is it for our intro to angles.